Momentum was built specifically for the federal government. We cover the entire federal business processes from the budget formulation all the way through reporting, as Rich mentioned. So we know the business of the government and we've built it into the product.
Engaging our industry stakeholders to inform the U.S. federal government on today's most innovative IT solutions. NITAAC proudly presents Solutions Showcase.
Well, welcome back to another special episode of NITAAC Now, our outreach webcast. And we are here from Fairfax, Virginia again with the Emerging Technology Practice, Rich Bissonette, the Vice President and Federal Chief Technology Officer. Welcome, Rich, again. And the Director of Enterprise Resource Planning, Practice Lead, Kerry Canfield. Welcome to our webcast.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with Rich. Rich, describe enterprise resource management. Many people know what that is, but in a federal context, what does it mean?
So I'll describe it in the context of our Momentum product, which really covers the full federal functionality, ranging from financial through budgeting, through acquisitions and asset management. So it really covers everything that they would be doing. And the key from a Momentum point of view is we built it for government and we've matured it as government's matured. Our first customer went live on Momentum over 20 years ago, and if you look at that point, we have really continued to evolve the product, both from a technology point of view, which is more my focus, and a functional point of view, which is more Kerry's focus, and we've stayed on top of the market.
ERP, very complex software. Tell me from your perspective, though, everybody's familiar with larger packages on the commercial side. What's differentiated with Momentum in the federal market, in your view?
Momentum was built specifically for the federal government. We cover the entire federal business processes from the budget formulation all the way through reporting, as Rich mentioned. So we know the business of the government and we've built it into the product. It's a modular, componentized system, so the agencies can implement pieces and parts of it that they wish to do so. So if I need a budgeting solution, I can implement it as a budgeting solution. If I need a fee management solution for that piece of my process, we have capabilities that can help the customers there too. We support integrations with all the federal external applications, so applications such as FedBizApps or GSA's systems for award management. And we're flexible and scalable, meaning we design Momentum so that it's not architecture dependent. If an agency has particular investments in infrastructure or databases that they want to take advantage of, they can do so with Momentum.
It sounds like this is a comprehensive package that has weathered the test of time, but one of the attributes of growing with your customers is ensuring that they have benefits. How would you characterize, from your federal government customers' perspective, the benefits they receive from this package?
Sure. So across all the components that they choose to implement, we have some foundational elements that we consider. One, first and foremost, we try and make it user-friendly. And our feedback from our customers is that Momentum is completely user-friendly. So through any part of their business life cycle, they can work with the transactions in a meaningful way that's designed specifically for them. They also have collaboration tools at their disposal. So they can work with their partners, either their vendors or their colleagues, to complete an entire business process. We also have proven the ability to tailor. So whether it's Department of State who uses our product or Department of Justice, they can tailor the application to look and feel, to use their labels and their recognizable nomenclature. So at the enterprise level, they can relabel the application. At an organizational level, different bureaus are not the same within a particular agency. DoD does not look like civilian. So they can tailor it even at the organizational level to tailor their business processes throughout the application. And then lastly, at the user level, they can choose to relabel or reorganize the screens in a meaningful way to them, so that if they typically do small business purchases, as an example, they can default the transactions attributes that are needed for small business purchases and streamline their processing times.
Back office, so core to any organization's operation. And when you're talking about ERP, you're talking about something very strategic and something that you have to live with, frankly, for many years. When someone's looking to invest in this, one of those attributes that sort of offsets the risk involved is the community of existing users, and you have a large community of federal users on your product. How has that community helped new customers and potential customers understand the potential of the product and the usability of the product going forward?
That's a great question. As Rich said, we're built for government. So our user community is the federal government, and the federal government drives our product. We have a very active user community. We call it the Momentum User Group, or MUG. They meet, they meet monthly, and they drive issues that they want to discuss across their business processes, be it budget, acquisition, or finance. They also get to prioritize what we do to the product. So we have a yearly, or twice yearly actually, forums where we can review enhancements that we're thinking about for customer-centered feedback on enhancements that we're proposing to the software. And we ask our customers to vote. So we know that what we're building is applicable to multiple customers and agencies, but we also get their feedback on the design and the direction the product's taking. So the user community is extremely important. They find interaction with each other is probably the best benefit that they get out of a Momentum product built specifically for government. They can share that economies of scale across the different processes that they're working.
A very customer-centric approach to building products, but you don't stop there. You have other value add that CGI offers their Momentum customers. Tell me about that, Kerry.
Okay, so the service line that I manage is a horizontal organization that supports all of the accounts. And where we found that model to be truly successful is that they get to share lessons learned across different customer organizations. So Department of State can share from examples from Department of Justice just because our SMEs flowed across those accounts. They get to share lessons learned more quickly than they do coming together on a monthly basis as a user community. More actionable recommendations in their implementation decisions are coming from the SMEs. We also have an extensive training program. So our new hires are not trained on our customer accounts. The training program roughly is anywhere from 4 to 6 months, depending upon the role the new hire is going to take on. And they are held with us on the service line and trained with us before they're put out to the customer organizations. So it's that extensive training program and the service line SMEs that really put these benefits into action for our customers.
From your customer's perspective, you are so involved with them. I'm just curious if you have any anecdotal comments about what they're experiencing as they embark on the journey with Momentum.
So first and foremost, they're getting a COTS product, right? That COTS product is maintained by us. Mm-hmm. So as the government continuously promotes new regulations
they're not
or
starting
requirements,
from scratch.
They're not starting from scratch. We're maintaining any new requirements, unfunded as they may be in some cases, such as the Data Act. But they also get to tailor the application without customization to meet their needs. And that's what I was talking about earlier regarding the things they can do at the organizational, enterprise, or user level. There's also less paper with our records management solutions. We find that there's less forms to route around. It's more electronic. But they also get to collaborate across the user space and get those SMEs efficiencies and that communication with other customers to promote efficiencies in their processes.
Rich, when folks and agencies and executives are considering ERP as a package, what are they looking at? What should they be looking at as they try to bring efficiencies to their agency?
A lot of products out there are, corporate applications that are brought into federal government, but the federal government really is not a corporate business. While there may be some best practices that you can apply, the requirements are very different. The whole budgeting process and all the budget planning, everything goes around it, is considerably different than any corporation would do. So that, I think, is a key one. And then you start to get into the other things that have come up, like configurability. You want a system that you can configure rather than have to customize it and spend the extra money and always be carrying forward customizations. And I think a big part when you're in the federal government people forget about is there's a lot of existing federal systems we integrate with a lot of the systems out of the box. So being able to integrate with existing federal systems and having the tools built into the product to be able to integrate with agency systems, because there's always going to be mission critical applications that are out there that the ERP will not replace, but there has to be a constant interaction, so the integration is probably key. And then I would say the real other factor to not forget is security. And security really comes in a lot of ways. Application security itself to make sure somebody can't break into it, but also being able to have a solution that can run on a cloud or run in your data center. In any situation, it should be secured. And you have to make sure that the solution is actually capable of that.
I imagine you have been through any number of evaluation scenarios and processes and seen the pitfalls and seen the good decisions, but walk us through a little bit of that process. If you're an agency selection committee, what do you need to be looking at in these ERP packages that will help you avoid some of the pitfalls that you perhaps have experienced?
I think first it's the basics, right? You need to go for the federal functionality, and you also need to think about the scalability. People underestimate the pure raw size of some of our customers like Department of State and what you're talking about. I mean, these organizations are as large as the largest corporations or larger. And when you look at some aspects, some aspects of some agencies, you get into some very specific functionality that you might not be able to think about or might not have thought about, like at handling a foreign currency. When you have so many agencies that are around the world, you have things like, well, can I handle transactions in any currency? Because if I'm at an embassy or at a mission abroad, I need to be able to deal with vendors in their language and in their currencies. And all of those things really come together, and you might not think about that stuff up front, and sometimes they don't.
Such a core and important decision as agencies look at ERP and trying to avail themselves of the best possible products on the market. Rich Bissonette and Kerry Canfield, thank you for joining us on this edition of NITAAC Now. It was so good to talk to you about Momentum and what you're doing here at CGI Federal.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for yet another edition of NITAAC Now. We certainly want you and encourage you to look at NITAAC for your solutions such as ERP and modernization technologies. So until next time, I'm Todd Schwartzrock for NITAAC Now. Thank you for joining us.